Welcome, everybody. So glad you could make it tonight. We're here for from the Kiln with Sandra McEwen. Ann Havel is going to be our guest moderator tonight. Ann Havel is a board member of Enamel Guild Northeast, so we're always pleased to have her join us when she can. Um, Ann, take it away.
Okay, well, I was kind of grabbed at the last minute, and boy, am I happy because Sandra is just an amazing enamel artist, and I've certainly enjoyed sharing time with her. I think there's very few of us who aren't familiar with her work, and I actually just learned today that she has a BFA in illustration from RISD. And
Ew.
yeah, I never knew that.
Oh,
And it was in illustration. Did I already say that? I probably did.
yes,
Sorry
yeah.
about that. And then afterwards I read up that she pursued some stained glass work over in Italy and
Hmm.
happened and tripped over and a cloisonne enamel class, I believe, and she was hooked, and that's all she wrote. I guess as far as that, she just took off like a bullet. And I know we're all very familiar. Her works in numerous collections here, abroad, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to let her take it away and talk about some of her favorite things. We are not asking her anything specific. It's her time to just share her favorite things she likes to talk about. And then, of course, I'll let you know that there are still a few seats available for her workshop coming up in about a month. And one thing you should know is that Sandra's going to be taking some time off from teaching. She's not going to be doing nearly the schedule she's been doing. So I believe you only have two more workshops this year, and that's at
I'm
least in the
doing
first.
and they're generally full. I'm doing
Okay.
Aramont, Touchstone. I've got one in,
I think this one and one other one had some availability, and then that's going to be
yes, and that's
it.
it. Yeah.
Yes. So if you ever have dreamed at night, waking up in a sweat, saying, "I have to take a class with Sandra McEwen," now's your time. Jump on it, guys. You'll be with a great group of people there because the conference is not a huge event. There's not like hundreds of people. It's small and it's intimate, and you'll have a wonderful time. And now the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, I was going to get started by giving you a tour of my studio, and I'm going to have my husband, he's going to carry my laptop around, and I thought I would just, I guess everybody else is going to be muted and we can ask questions later, or I guess that's how we're going to figure it out. And I also, how do I do it so I can see myself as the biggest person? I'm so
I
sorry.
want to go to speaker view.
Oh, speaker view. Oh, I am on the speaker view, but I'm not showing up as the speaker.
Huh. Because you're
You are
showing
on my screen.
mine. Yeah, mine also.
Yeah, but you're on my screen, whatever. I guess it's fine. Um, Hold on.
Pin yourself.
Eh. Oh, how do I pin it? Sorry, sorry.
That
Pin.
little, those little dots drop
Oh,
it.
I got it. There I am. All right, now I can see it because it's just going to be easier. So anyway, um, my husband's going to help a little bit. He's the number one supporter. Do you want to say hello? He says no. He says no. So I'm going to hand this. So I thought, because I've had many studios that I've worked in my career as a jewelry artist. And I've kind of started, obviously, I started in my home, and I've now come back to my home. And it's a whole different thing because I've learned so much about the kind of space that I need to work. And I've also had lots of public spaces, like group artists shared spaces, and I realized that what I really need is I need to be a little monk all alone with nobody bothering me. Anyway, so we recently moved, I guess about a year ago, to I'm gonna tip you down just a little bit. There we go. We moved back to Ohio about a year ago, and in a whirlwind, and we purchased this house, and I have completely taken the entire basement as my working studio. So this area is where I do 95% of all of my work. I don't know if you want to get this out of the way. Come over here. This is kind of where I've got my setup. I'm working on earrings right now. But this is where I do most of my work because I am not a trained jewelry artist. I just work on a table. So I don't have like a jewelry bench or anything. So I've got this area. I like to have everything kind of perfectly set up so I can just pivot. Oh, here you can see this is where I keep all my washed enamels here. I've got all of my supplies here. In case I feel like reading about enamels whenever I get a moment, it's here. We'll talk about that stuff. This is where I do my drawing and design work. And other things here. Again, it's just extra space. And then here we can pivot around this way. Oh, can we show this? I've got a fireplace thing that it came with I didn't install it. It came with the place. And then if we come over here, stay there. This area got my lovely rolling mill, the arc welder here, which Warren has probably never actually said this, but my like $2,000 jump ring closer. No, I not that they didn't oversell this thing. In fact, when you need a jump ring closed, it's magic. And then all of my enamels here that I hoard. Actually, it's not even that big of a collection. But I've really been focusing a lot on collecting, lump enamels are kind of my new, I just randomly, oh, look at this. This is 1066. Old Thompson lump enamel. So I have been collecting lump enamels and also, it's all arranged here. So let's go over here. But this is kind of like the other area. We've got the sink area. This was a really fancy, the previous homeowners had a whole wine bar situation. And so it's kind of fancier than it really needs to be. And then this is, if you ever buy a jewelry kit from me, these tables are from when I used to teach workshops in my old studio, but nobody except Warren has been in this workshop. So it's just me, and we set up all the kits in here. And whenever I need extra space for doing things, I hang out in here. I don't know if you can see, this used to be a climbing wall. It was like the world's shortest climbing wall. So you got all of this stuff. If you order something, this is where it comes from. It's not elves, it's literally me. And Warren, I draft him he knows all about making these kits. So, but come, we got one more room. Come on, everybody. I should have closed the bathroom door, but I did not. So, and then this room is the grinding and kiln room. I kind of just recently got a new kiln, which I totally here come to this. I love this kiln. I don't know if you have, God, this light is terrible. This is a hot shot kiln. And I don't know if you've had any trouble at all if you've been doing enameling. I know there's been some issues with the Paragons. I only had Paragon kilns, and I just could not get them to come up to temperature properly. I'm going to have you, there we go, because I'm short. So I recently got this hot shot kiln. It's made in the United States, I think someplace in like Missouri, somewhere Midwestern, and it is an amazing kiln, and I love it. So if you are looking for a new enameling kiln, look at the inside. Look at this door. Like, it's a bit squeaky, but beautiful, small. I think it's even almost the exact same price as that kiln. But anyway, we've got that. So I've got the kiln, I've got my two grinders. This is my kind of my new grinder. It's my Cab King. And I've got my old grinder over here, which I actually use a lot more. I mean, I use both. I do my rough grinding on this one and my finishing grinding on the other one. And then finally, I've got, because I don't, since I'm in my house, I don't want to have a big acetylene tank, so I've just been using for my soldering propane and a little easy torch, and I crack open the window and everything is good. So yeah, let's come back over here. I think that's everything. Did I miss anything? Um, but it's a really nice, um, it's a great space. The light, I mean, I know we're technically here, we got a little bit of a window up there, but there's the window. It is the basement, but it's really quiet. And so there we have it. So I guess I'll take this back and we can thank Warren for doing all of that. Thank you, sweetie. Um, so that is the first part. Any questions about my studio?
So, so clean.
Here?
It feels like it's not. I did some tidying. I admit I tidied up. But I cannot work. It's funny because I did not grow up as a clean person. I don't clean the kitchen, I don't make the bed, but this space, I love organizing it. And whenever I have something, I can't think if things aren't, you know, all arranged. And that's I think what I like about this space for me. And you have to be kind of clean, like with the cloisonne. It's, you do kind of need it to be a little bit clean.
The lapidary gear did you use?
Oh, you mean that the big grinder?
What brand was it? What's your preferred brand on the lapidary equipment?
Oh, well, I mean, I've got that Pacific grinder thing, and I just got that Cab King, which I like. It's really nice, and I think what's so nice about it is it's a bit overkill for what I'm doing, but I kind of have learned my lesson about uh, buying the cheapest thing I can find. I made that mistake so many times early on. I would buy the cheapest rolling mill, and then you buy the second cheapest rolling mill, and then eventually you get the good rolling mill, and at that point you've already spent so much money. So I try to spend money on really high quality equipment, and that arc welder though is kind of that's kind of like instead of I don't really like a car or anything. I like to get nice, I like tools. So, but yeah, so this is my space and I spend every single day here when I'm not, it's pretty much this is my life here. I've got back here my sample strips, which I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes. But I thought I would, if there's no more questions about my studio space or anything, I was going to do a very quick show and tell about what I'm working on now because I'm going to be doing at the conference. I'm going to do a whole, you know, where have I come from, where am I going with lots of slides and the full Monty. But this is just kind of impromptu, not impromptu, but I've made some lists, so I shall continue unless. Okay, sounds good. I'm so out of touch with Zoom now. I feel like I'm talking to myself. But I've been working a lot lately I've been doing a lot of small commissions, which has taken up a lot of my time. But in between, I've been trying to do some more elaborate drawings. And this is not done, but this is kind of, I love bracelet forms. This is not done at all. This is my Black Swan bracelet. And what I love about this form, I'm going to pull out another bracelet that's finished. You can see, I don't know if you can see it. I'll get some more. I should be finished with this by the end of next week. But this is all shades of purple and orange and black. Hold on, let's show you just like that. So I've been working on this, but I just love narrative pieces and I love this shape because it's a perfect circle, and it really gives you a lot of space to do some storytelling. So I've been working on this guy for a long time. It's been a long time with this guy. But I've been doing a lot of bracelets in the last 2 years. Let me grab this other bracelet. It's in a box. Should have gotten it unpacked. But this was the original bracelet that I did. I guess this is probably from.
Sandra, can you make yourself full screen?
Oh, am I not?
You're full screen on mine.
Not on mine.
Hold on.
Linda, can you click on speaker view? And then the person speaking will become large.
Oh, well, I'm full screen now. Does that help? Or maybe you have to hit full
Yeah, I
screen.
think Linda has to change.
I had to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Good job. Yeah, but I did it too, because now I'm like, oh, it's so much better. But anyway, this is the first kind of large bracelet that I did, um, which kind of has just led me down a path of large bracelets. Oh, and you can see the inside. You'll see a really good photo of this in my talk. Oh, there it is. So you can see, I love the duality of being able to do kind of an interior story that's really personal, and then the exterior story as well. And that's so this shape really, really resonates with me. I've been having, which I'll talk more about in my actual thing, but been having a lot of challenges because as you no, my major was in illustration. I've never taken a lot of actual jewelry classes or even enameling classes. And so I struggle with, sometimes the simplest things. And so in the last 2 years, I've been really trying to, because I'm good at, I can do 3D modeling because my husband makes video games. And so I kind of learned that. And so I've been having some pieces cast and been struggling enameling on cast forms because there's just so many new challenges with that. And so I've been working on that little guy. But speaking of, and I love the imagery of, I don't know why I'm black swanning. There's nothing going on in the world that, you know, at all. But so, and I've recently been, this is going to be a setting. So I've just been, this is actually going to be the white swan front and back. This is going to be a double-sided. So I've been kind of just exploring enameling on different kinds of settings. So this was the tester piece that I'm doing. It's just very challenging. Cast metal and cast sterling metal are they don't love to be enameled on. There's definitely porosity issues that I've been struggling with. So I've really been, I wish I could say I was doing a lot more exciting things, but I've been doing a lot of testing uh, to try new things to make this kind of work. Um, and
So that piece was cast, Sandra? The piece
yeah,
you were
this is
holding?
cast. This piece, and it's going to have a cloisonne front and back. So it's going to be a two-sided pendant.
Yeah,
It-
no, I had missed that you said it was cast.
Yeah, this is cast just because my strength is enamels. I feel that I'm a master enamel artist, but I am not a master jewelry fabricator. And so that's kind of always been one of the biggest challenges because I have big dreams. I want to do all this stuff, but I don't want it to look like trash. And I also don't want to I want to spend 95% doing the enameling. I don't So this has been kind of a struggle that I've been going through in the last 2 to 3 years. So that is what, but it, you know, that's part of the journey of that.
There
And
are a couple questions in the chat.
I don't have my
The bracelet, was that sterling silver or was that fine
Yes, the
silver?
bracelets are all sterling. If it's something that earrings, most of my big necklaces or earrings or smaller pieces, it's perfectly fine to enamel on the fine silver. But if it's a bigger piece that's going to get, that needs to be, you know, especially bracelets. You just really need to do it on sterling. So I get them cast, and then I depletion gild them, and I've been working on different kinds of burnishing techniques because I've been experiencing, especially with the cast sterling, there can be some porosity issues that don't appear until you start enameling on it, and then you get things percolating up through the enamels and cracking. Um, which is big disappointment. I can show you. Do you want to see one more disappointment? Um, this was a small cast vessel that I still feel like I might actually finish it because I've had some of my thoughts about how I would. It's not. I started grinding and polishing it, but it's like a little vessel that I've been working on, and I stopped because on this side, I'll show you, there's an imperfection in the casting right here, and the enamel keeps flaking off right in that area. So I was like, at some point, you just have to kind of let it go and walk away. But I actually had an idea last week of how I might remedy that for this little guy. But we'll just put him back on the shelf because he's been living there for like a year and a half now. So were there some other questions? I should open my chat window.
Somebody was asking if you can talk about enameling on sterling.
Don't. That's not well, I mean, yes. I would say, here's what I would say about my journey with enameling on sterling is if it doesn't need to be sterling, maybe it could be fine silver. That'd be the first thing that I would say. And if you, and I'm still kind of processing the best method of enameling on sterling, but I depletion gild it, which means I heat it up. I actually just depletion gild it in the kiln. I heat it up, I quench it, and I pickle it, and I do that until the whole thing is white, like a beautiful shade of white. I don't have anything ready to go that's white. And then I burnish it and enamel on it. And depending on the quality of the casting, you'll know immediately if you've got some strange porosity going. So I need to learn how to cast because I feel like that'd be the way to do it. Oh, chat, I see. Oh, there it is. Is the bracelet sterling? Oh, and what gauges? No, the bracelet is cast. So it's not, I believe it's, hold on, let me move that out of the way. When I designed it, I think it's probably about a millimeter thick on the inside because I didn't want to, it had to be thick enough that they could do the casting but thin enough that I'm not wasting a bunch of silver or it's so heavy. Um, uh, Marcia says, people talk about a jewel tool. You have two grinders. Do you favor the grinders and why? Well, I do. I used to have like three jewel tools and I would lug them around when I was teaching because I don't like the jewel tool for two reasons. I think it's overpriced, for what it is. It's basically just a spindle motor and then all those little, bits and bobs, they only fit the jewel tool and you have to pay, they don't last that long. But it's quiet, it's non-threatening, it's real easy. You can do the thing where you can kind of hold it face up. So it's great in, I think, in a teaching set, that kind of a thing. But ultimately, it's not. In fact, during COVID, when we went back to we were not here, but in my bedroom working, I had a jewel tool sitting like right there and I didn't use it. I just used my Fordham and one of these I think is better than a jewel tool. This is just a diamond grit sanding disc. Easy peasy. Sorry, anyway, so that's the answer to the jewel tool.
There was a question from Jan. I think
Jan.
you missed it. It was just one up from Marcia's question. Even your larger neck pieces are fine, question mark.
Yes, and they do have all counter enamel. Yes, and I've been um I usually enamel on both sides. Do you mind if I run and get that one necklace that I made? I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
This stuff is amazing.
Oh,
Can't
sorry, I
believe-
should run. Oh, my studio's so big.
That's so big you had to run.
Yes, I just sold this. So if I drop this, you know, um, but this necklace, this is my connections necklace. Ooh, oh, see, I was gonna drop it. Ugh, I'm gonna pick it up. And generally, my larger pieces are made up of smaller. So you can see, oops, hold on. Wait, which way? I'm backwards.
There you go.
So you can see it doesn't look good hanging like that. There we go. We've got the front, but they're, individual pieces, so they're pretty small. But then the back, I usually try to do enamel on the back as well. So, because if you're going to counter enamel, you might as well do some wire work. Excuse me while I put this one down. There we go. Sorry.
So is that champlavé on both sides?
Yes, and cloisonné. But I really like that there's a hidden side, and I actually was gonna, can I show you? I was gonna talk about some pieces that, um, I'm gonna show you this
You can
piece.
show us whatever you want.
Well, because it's crazy. I always over uh, my ideas are not necessarily in line with my skill set. So I'm going to show you this ridiculous. This is the one of the first. This isn't cloison. This is cloisonné. Wait, that's not it. I probably made this 15 years ago. This the. Oh yeah, here it is. I made this necklace, and it's not gold. It's not solid gold. Don't worry. But I've always loved, medieval nonsense. But this piece, ooh, sorry, here we go, is I made this piece. This is one of my very first big necklaces. Sorry, the camera's backward, but you can see that it has all the things that I love. And I fabricated this myself. I was very proud of myself. And I have this pulled out because I just found it recently when I was cleaning, and I realized that there are some things that I just truly love about this necklace, but I am such a better enamel. It's like, look at the simplicity of this cloisonné work. So I have my next big project after I finish this is I'm going to kind of not rework this. I'm going to do a new necklace with this same inspiration. It's going to have two sides. Um, and anyway, so that's one of the things I've been mulling around. If there's ever, that's the other thing is the time it takes to make all these pieces. I mean, this, I'm probably, 200 hours of labor into this. So it's like, but I also have 10 more, 10 more things I want to get done. So that's the challenge is committing to something that may not work, uh, and then being okay with the fact that, the sunk cost fallacy of like, what did I learn? Um, it failed, but I got all this really great information. Um, I'm kind of all about the journey rather than the trinket that you get at the end. So, oh, more questions.
Yeah, Judy wants to know if when you're cast, are you doing wax carving or are you
Oh,
making
no. I'm making I'm doing the
cast?
3D model. I'm making the 3D model, and I don't do casting. I'm I send it to be cast. Um and
So
so
you send
that's
them a file? So
yeah.
it's the file you send them?
Yeah, it's I send them just a dot through 3D STL file.
Mhm.
STL. Um there's a lot of I actually have some videos. I think I've got a 3D modeling video on my Vimeo channel about how to because there's a bunch of free softwares. I mean, you could at the very least, there's always a 2 week um, free trial for the 3D software. But yeah, it's, if you have computer skills and YouTube, you can pretty much teach yourself how to do 3D modeling. It's pretty straightforward. Um,
There's a
somebody
question
wants to know
about
oh,
the first necklace. There was a question about the connections between the pieces and the clasp.
the class, the big necklace.
Yeah, the one behind you on the table, the one that you sold.
Oh, the one that I sold. Yes. That one, I've, I'm trying to think about my connections tend to be very simple because I'm a simple kind of a lady. But with that piece, that one is, there's just a tube um, embedded in the top, and so it threads just like a bead. Um, and, then the clasp is just a very simple clasp like this at the end. So I've done double-sided necklaces that you can wear both directions. This is there's a front and a back. It can't be worn backwards because of the way that the pieces are shaped.
kind of Natia is asking about the microscope you use.
Oh,
Do you have a suggestion or recommendation?
I love this microscope. This is my Mid-G. This was honestly after my kiln. This was the next important thing that I got because especially if you're doing if you're doing big pieces or, more organic things, you maybe don't need this. But if you are doing cloisonne enamel and you're doing, the tiniest little things, I work almost exclusively underneath this. And I got this from Rio Grande probably 10 years ago. It's probably, the funny thing is that see if you can see it. Here we are. This thing is probably as expensive as the actual microscope.
Wow.
As a light. I'm sure they still sell them, but don't skip because if you're going to be sitting here for hours on end, it needs to not be wobbling around. Um, I think the only thing that if I could go back in time and get differently is they had the one that has a third thing that lets you put a camera down there so you could record what you're doing. And I did not get that one. But so think about if you ever think you're going to do a YouTube video, having that recordable lens there would be nice because it's not attached, but I ended up buying another little camera that I have to kind of wiggle around when I'm trying to record small close-up things. But I love this. This is Meiji, Meiji. If you email me, I'll send you a link. So, okay. I've been blabbing too much. What's next?
They're
Um,
asking if you do your cloisonne by hand.
oh, yeah, I mean, how else
Is there any other way?
is there any other way?
I don't know.
You could have it cast.
I don't think so.
But no, it is all me. I'll have some pictures of some wire work. I probably for that bracelet spent over probably, 2 weeks, depending, because I don't always work on the same thing endlessly, because there's always, I do this is my business. So I spend a lot of time making tutorial videos on Vimeo and I sell jewelry, I do commissions, there's a lot going on. So these big pieces, they kind of, I squeeze them in. They're like my fun little side projects. It's what everybody likes to see, but it's not the thing that keeps these lights on. So,
I think someone wants to know how many times you have to depletion gild before it's ready to rock.
it depends. When when the last time you put it in the kiln, I like to do it in the kiln because you get a really even heat. But you put it in the kiln and it's not getting, it's not turning black or brown and it stays pure white, you're good. You still want to pickle it. So it's basically you heat it up, you quench it, you pickle it, heat it, quench it, pickle it. And I know that if you really get into it, you should get that book. there is an acid bath that you're supposed to be using that really does that. There's also, you can put a layer of thin, soft enamel on and then remove that. There's a lot you can do. I've tried all of it and I kind of like to do the least amount. And so I just basically do that and then I burnish
So
where
there's two other questions. What burnisher are you using and what pickle are you using?
I am using the pickle that I bought from Rio Grande, the generic pickle that I got from Rio Grande. And um, I've got a hammerhead. Depending what I'm doing, I've got that little hammerhead thing.
Oh, the hammer hand piece?
Yeah, the hammer hand piece with just a blunt, soft thing. They're gonna boop, 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 boop. And then I don't have it in front of me, and just a really nice, simple, clean burnisher, metal burnisher. Um, so, and then I also, because I'm not, the sterling just does not love the enamel. So I also absolutely not usually 100% of the time when I'm doing sterling, I'm definitely putting fine silver foil down because I want that luminosity. And um, that is all.
Oh, there was somebody asking about how you do the front and back of the piece. I was actually curious what gauge metal you're using to support the front and back. So
I'm
maybe
using 20 gauge, which is I
Mhm.
think point 0.8. Well, that
point oh,
um,
it's
yeah, what is that?
oh,
0.8 millimeters,
oh,
0.85.
you were going for 0.8 millimeters.
I like that as my depth because you don't necessarily have to have that middle piece because you've got your top piece and then your bottom piece. I like chunky pieces. I like them to have some thickness. So I use 20 gauge, 20 gauge. And then if I'm going on the back, another 20 gauge. And that's the perfect depth for just the right amount of enamel. Because remember, you've got this, say this is your 20 gauge, you've got your flux layer, your foil, dun, 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 and then you got your colors. You don't need to be much thicker because then you're just adding more material for no real benefit. You've got all your colors, it looks luminous. It doesn't need to be any thicker than it needs to be. And let's see, Marcia says, can I say something about my visual vocabulary and pictorial interests? That will definitely be in my talk. Um, well, let's see, there's too many questions. All right, let me talk about, I'm going to answer that one. Um, obviously, my background is illustration. I love doing drawings and telling stories. And I love the Middle Ages and I love history. I love the Bayeux Tapestry. That's what I love. It's just there's a million things that I love to incorporate into my art, and enamel is just the perfect medium. But as far as like the imagery goes, sorry, this is not a totally wonderful drawing, but this is that bracelet that it's a very simple thing, but I spend a lot of time doing, this is the inside of that other bracelet. I spend a lot of time with pen and paper and watercolors and colored pencil because I feel that the design work is obviously it's as important as the making of the piece. But as far as imagery goes, it's very kind of intuitive. I love fables. I love symbols. It's not that deep. We've got the black swan, and then there's the second one that's coming. It's going to be the white swan bracelet, because then you could wear them both and it would be a lot. It would be a lot. But so as far as the imagery goes, it folklore, history, you know, Middle Ages.
So a
So
couple more. Are you etching the fine silver? for your
No,
shampoo?
no, no. If you, well, we're not doing, we only have 3 days for this upcoming workshop, so it's going to be a cloisonne workshop. But if you take one of my 5-day workshops, I use a method of fusing. So I saw out all of my shapes and then I slap it on another piece of 20 gauge and I fire. You saw my little torch set up. I use a real easy torch, like I think it's called the easy torch. I use a little propane torch, although I learned on an acetylene torch, which would be fine too. I just heat it up and fuse them together. So no, we're not soldering, we're fusing. Um,
And Susan's asking if you flash your metal before enameling or mostly use foil.
I mostly use foil because, to be honest, I like the control. I think the foil is really shine, and I like that shine. I find it really appealing. So I like being able to really control the texture of the foil. I can add texture, I can do a rolled texture, and it's always going to be so shiny. And also I've done, different kinds of texturing directly on the silver instead. So you don't have to use the silver foil, but I find that I like to use it because it's kind of sparkly and really makes the enamels so luminous in a way that even if you're really polishing up that fine silver, it's just not quite as sparkly as the
If
foil.
you roll your texture, do you use the Gambari foil? Because it's heavy.
Oh, Enamel Art Supply has an even thicker foil than Jinbari. I've got
Oh,
some,
really? They do?
hold on. Oh, it just happens. See, look, everything is within 3 seconds. She's got, oh, here is a piece that I just rolled yesterday. This is some texture, but look at that really nice, it's still attached to this beautiful texture of and this is her super thick, it's 10 microns thick. And it's from Enamel Art Supply. Oh, here it is. Enamel Art Supply. This stuff is amazing. You can also, as far as like the gold foil, it's harder to find and wildly expensive to find gold foil that's thick enough to take a texture. In fact, I used the last little bit of it for, this pair of earrings that I made. I love this color. Look at that coral color. We're not quite finished with the enameling, but
You weren't kidding when you said before we started you love that color.
love that color. Oh my God. Oh, we haven't even talked about my sample. Let me just show
You
you real
gotta
fast.
do some samples. Come on, or whatever you called them. Strips
Sample
or
strips. But let me tell you, the jewelry is whatever. My passion is for these sample strips because it's about the color. Um, so if you ever come take a workshop from me, you will be introduced to my samples. My passion is to have one sample of every color that has ever been made in enamels. And I truly love these samples. And you can see, let me show you one. I have like a whole method of making these samples because they're delicious. And you learn so much. You could learn how to do, well, maybe not cloisonne, but you learn a lot about enamels, your kiln, your personality, if you just sat and made 100 sample strips. You'd
Show
also,
us the back.
oh,
You
yeah,
have it
that,
labeled on the back
yes.
and a magnet on there.
Yeah, I've got it on a magnet. And then this one is, ooh, there we go. Nihon Shippo 100A light pink. That's just painted with like a P3 underpaint. So that's underneath, so it will never. But you can see with this, I've got 4 elements. The first, or sorry, this little end right here is bare silver. So you can see it's a little bit reactive. Then you have it over the fine silver, and then, oops, sorry, over the textured fine silver, and then over gold foil. But whenever I'm feeling down, I make some sample strips. I'm all in the process of redoing all of my white and blacks right now. So that's really, this is more important than any of the jewelry are these sample strips to me anyway. Um, so
So apparently we didn't answer Babette's question. Maybe
Oh.
I didn't ask it well. She's
Oh, do
asking
I do both at the same time? Well, you know what? It depends. It really depends. If you come take my workshop, I'll tell you. Um, some colors don't like to be in the kiln a million times. So if you're doing a two-sided piece, think about the colors. Are you going to do reds and pinks on one side? Think about doing something friendlier on the other side, because then you could do all your back, enamel the entire back. Boom. Flip it over and then enamel the front. Um, so that would be, so you asked yourself those questions, and then you're like, well, what if I'm going to do blues and they could be in the kiln? Then maybe you could alternate one layer, one layer, one layer, just keep flipping it back and forth. You're just, you're working your way to the top on both sides. Um, so the answer is it depends. And
You answered the preferred foil, and somebody's asking where you buy your silver.
Rio Grande. To be honest, they've had the best quality. I've never had um really any problems with the Rio Grande, and I sent my scrap there, and um, it's always pretty good. So,
I might have missed a question, but oh no, someone threw in, what kind of trivet do you use?
what shape am I doing? For this, it really depends on what am I firing. This is getting fired. I didn't bring the trivet over. I have a million different trivets. So depending on what if I'm doing long skinny things, I'm using, a sawhorse trivet. Um, there's always, um, it's just, it really is dependent on the shape and size of what you're firing. Sometimes you'll have to make a custom trivet, and what's really good for the arc welder can make some interesting little trivets too. So there's a second use for that arc welder. All right, we've got a fusing question. Was there a fusing
I don't
question?
know. It's a confusing question. That's all it says. So I don't know what that means.
How does fuse? And that was the first, before I learned how to solder or even like saw, well, not because I had to learn how to saw first, but this is like the first thing I learned in jewelry making was how to fuse fine silver.
Wow.
And I had to backtrack and learn how to solder. That's why I think fusing is easier than soldering. Um, but
Yeah,
fusing
if
is
you
one of those things that it's so much better if I can stand right next to you and we do it together within 5 minutes. You're like, I get it. But you can um, watch videos about it. It really is about taking it to the just where it's melting, but not melting. It's a dance of kind of like coming and going, and um, it's it's something you have to do kind of in the moment. And I feel like I could teach my mother how to fuse. Um, I wouldn't want to, but I bet I could.
but you could.
It's like Penta, it's so simple, and it's just a matter of having faith and trusting the process. And also fuse. Once I show it to you, you need to go home and fuse 100 things in a row.
Oh
And
wow.
you got it set in your head of what you're looking for. Um, so, okay. What size is your silver wires? Yeah, you'll learn that in my workshop. I wanted to talk a little bit about what we're doing in the workshop, the
Mhm.
3-day workshop, if we may,
Yeah, please.
because right now we only have 6 people signed up, which will be very intimate and nice for me, but not super great for them making, I think there's a 10 student limit, which is also fairly small. It's going to be intimate. No, you cannot enamel on Argentium. Not even going to talk about it. But so for my 3-day workshop, we're doing cloisonne. It will be for all levels. You can have never done it. You can have a ton of experience. And what I'm going to be focusing on for this specific workshop is luminosity of color and kind of working with different. We're not going to make, you can make whatever you want. If you have a project you want to make, it's a small enough class, I can accommodate you. But I really want to focus on working with some of the more challenging colors, some reds, some pinks, maybe an opalescent, depending on what the kiln situation is like. And we're going to be making several small, kind of more color sample pieces. I'm going to have a project, and you're going to do it in all different kinds of colors. And we're going to be working on transitions from one color to another and luminosity. But really, we're going to talk about color and clarity and that all in 3 days. So I hope to see you there. Any other questions? Yeah, and this is next year, I am scaling back my in-person teaching. So this is an opportunity to have me be in the same room as you for a teaching opportunity. So it'd be worth it for you guys, maybe.
It'll be worth it.
So
Well, I guess then we can conclude. Would you say, Kim, is there anything else we need to, do we want to drop a link to the registration here?
yes.
I think I can do that. There was one last question. Will we work on silver in the
Yes.
workshop?
Yes. Jen, that's pretty much the moment. See, it's funny because I've been working a little bit more on copper, but that's only in my personal work. But for these workshops, absolutely. Yeah, I just love silver. If that is a money problem, we absolutely could also work on copper. It's just a slightly different. You can get some very nice things, especially with cloisonne.
Will you be bringing kits for them?
There will be a kit. It is optional, but I encourage you need to purchase a kit. It will have all the colors you need. It'll have the cloisonne wire. You'll need to bring your own silver sheet, which I will tell you what to buy. I'll have some. If you forgot, you can buy. It's whatever. I don't up price the silver sheet because it's crazy expensive. So, but you will need to bring your own silver sheet, and there's some tools you'll want to have. We'll get that sorted out in the next week or so.
So you guys can click on that link and bookmark it if you need to think about it for a day or two.
But I'd love to see you there. And if you want to work on something different in the workshop, it's cool. It's all good. These are small enough things that, it is going to be cloisonne. We're not going to do chambre levé. That kind of, we all need to be working on kind of the same things anyway. But so, yeah, I think that is all I have to say. Well, thank you guys for coming to this hot out of the kiln. And email me if you have any questions about the workshop, what I do. Email. Don't contact me through social media. I always forget to check that. Email me, Sandra@sandramcEwen.com, or use the contact form on my website. So I will always answer you.